So this is the morning after, and I know you're supposed to keep putting this stuff on, but it isn't. Yeah, it's still not drying in places. So I mean, I'm just going to keep putting it on, and see what happens. You can see it's not drying here, but then obviously that's where the other stuff was, so you know it's never going to dry there, so we just need to give that a little bit of a clean out as we're doing it. So I'm just going to keep going and let the wood keep soaking it up, and where it isn't soaking it up, well, we'll just wipe that clean, you know, when the time comes. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put coat number 3 on, and then we're going to move on to something else. So there's third coat on. What you can see is this wood is starting to turn the same colour as the boat. And that's really what I wanted. I didn't want the wood to look out of place. So yeah, I'm really glad about that. So we'll just keep going on that until it won't suck any more oil up. So I'm going to give my floorboards clean. Look at the state of these. So they actually wore really nicely throughout the sort of half season after I did them, but since I've been renovating the boat, I maybe should have taken them out of the boat. You can see the state they're in here. This is all just gunk, isn't it? So I'm going to give them a good clean. They don't need sanding. I'm going to give them a good clean. Let's have a look at the backs. You can see actually the back is in better condition than the fronts were, because they just haven't been trodden on. So I'm going to give them a good clean front and back, and then we're going to give these a good lick of paint. I've got all 4 here. But this will get, you know, what we're trying to do is not just clean the surface, we're trying to sort of prepare it to suck up some of this oil. So that's what the ethanol does. It sort of sucks out a bit of the oil that's in the wood, so it's sort of ready to take on some more oil. So I'm going to do the fronts or the tops first. I hope that's cleaned. It didn't seem to clean a lot of it that well, but time will tell, won't it? We'll do the fronts and then we'll see where that gets us. There we go. They are, you know what, they're getting back to their former glory. So we'll see how that settles in, that oil, and then we'll give them another. We'll just put them on the rotation with the motor pad until they will suck up no more Dexolit, or until I've run out, because I've only got about an inch left in the can. So I think that's the last wood to do, really. So yeah. So I got a new delivery from Sea Screw. Actually, it's fast becoming my favourite place to buy stuff from. Anywhere that sells nuts and bolts is like my kind of place. But actually, what I did buy, I had loads of these on offer. So these are a little bit wider perhaps than I would normally like for fiberglassing, but actually they'll be brilliant for painting as well. I took a load of these off their hands, so like 30p each, which is brilliant. So I got loads of those for my fiberglassing, and their these are the sort of brushes 1 inch or just over 1 inch are the best ones, I think, for doing sort of mostly fiberglassing jobs. So I got those. Then let's have a little look what else we got. A whole little box full of bolts. So here, look at that. Here's the, maybe I'll move the camera down here. I've just realised I'm always out of shot, but there we go. Here's some stainless steel A480. Now, why are these A270 when they're clearly they're clearly not 70, are they? Oh, maybe they are slightly shorter. These are the bolts that are incorrect. Well, they look correct, but they're actually A2 304 stainless steel, no good. So I've got these. These are a 4 stainless steel 316, and I got 4 of those because I need them for another job, and they are pretty much exactly the same. They're like 1/2 centimetre bigger than the bolts I got from Drascombe. So those bolts can maybe stay here now. I'm going to put 2 of them in this little pack here for my motor pad when we go back. I actually got these as well, 90mm bolts. So we'll take these as well, just in case. I actually bought these because these were out of stock. But they're obviously were in stock, so I thought at least I've got the 90s I could put in. I don't want too much protruding though, because you know it'll only end up puncturing something in there. So that's those. Now I got some, again, 316 stainless steel washers, exactly the same as these. These are good. Just take a little bit of pressure off the wood. And the fiberglass inside, I'm going to have one of those either side. So they're brilliant. They were from the order. And then I've got a few things here that are optional. So these are so cheap, and I use so much of these that, you know, I decided to buy all of them. So these bolts are 316 bolts, and they're exactly the same as these ones. To be honest with you, they're A2. Yeah, everything's A2 on there. A4 definitely. Now these are your standard bolts. There we go. They fit on there. Nylock washers, so they'll, you know, should lock a bit better. But I actually found these. So these are exactly the same thing, but they've got an added sort of 3 or 4 mil on the thread. So they've got a little bit more thread. So why wouldn't you use those, you know? But then I also found these. Now I've used these before on plastics, and they're like a bolt, a nut, sorry, but with like a serrated washer built in. So with this, you wouldn't use the internal washer. You would just use this, and it would actually serrate along the fiberglass inside the boat, and it would hold that fast. So I don't know. I'm thinking, you know, I might take a set of those. And I'll take a set of the standard nuts, and I'll take a set of these deeper nuts, and you know, maybe we'll see. The only thing is there might not be enough bolt protruding for the bigger nut. I don't know. So what I will do, we'll take those. I'll put the standard bolt on them. So we've got them for the motor pad. And then I'll put these other bolts in, and we'll have a little play when we go back down to the boat. So I'm going to get my tiller sort of sorted out. I've got to get the tiller extension put back on. This is the fair lead for the little main sheet to go through. And then, yeah, I've just got a couple. I've got a little fair lead on the front here that works just here, that works really well for just giving me some a tiller tamer for, you know, it allows the boat to sort of self-steer for a little while. So I'm going to use all my new stainless steel screws. So in this one, I've got like a 1.5 inch and a 1 inch in the back, so they're roughly the same size. The screws in this sort of fair lead completely rusted away. They were like just completely rusty. It was crazy how rusty they were. So it's going to be lovely getting these new screws in here. And this is for the main sheet. So what we do is the main sheet, instead of just coming straight from the sail through all the blocks and then to me, we can thread it through here, and then we can actually start to let's just get that straight up. And then we can actually, you know, we could put a cleat on the tiller as well. I'm not so sure about that. You've got to be very careful. If you've got a cleat to cleat the main sheet off, you probably will use it. And, you know, all disasters, especially on dinghies, tend to start with the main sheet being cleated off. So, you know, I'm a bit reticent to do that. So the next thing I'll do, I'll put the little fair lead that we have here. Ideally I need the 3/4 inch size 8 screws, which I don't have, so these are going back in. At least I'll be super secure. And what this was for was to just attach a bit of line, and it gives me that sort of tiller tamer, very quick to attach, and also I can use this to stick the tiller in a certain position as well. So if you see the videos from last season, I actually had some great success keeping the boat on a course using this alone. So it doesn't keep you on course for too long if you start walking around the boat, but it keeps you on course enough to sort of, you know, compared to if you don't do that and you just let the tiller fly, the boat's just rounding up straight away. So, you know, she shows her dinghy roots in that sense. Now, the other thing I've got to do is, this is the clip for the tiller extension. So I'm going to put the tiller extension on first. Now, this did come with a pair of flat screws. So I'm going to put them back. You know, I hate these with the sort of just the slotted screw, I think they're called, opposed to the kind of Phillips or posi drive. The varnish, by the way, on my woodwork is really starting to firm up. You can feel it. Really just starting to really firm and look really nice. I still think it'll be another week or two before it's, you know, proper strength. You can still maybe dig your nail into it a little bit. But, you know, I'm certainly not going to make the mistake I made with the mirror last season, which, you know, where I did scratch a bit of the varnish off. And we're going to use the same screw that came with this, which is another little slotted, it looks about 1 inch, but this doesn't really take any strain at all. So we just need to get it in nice and square, and that's that. It's nice to fill up all the holes in the tiller. And it's nice to get this tiller all back together, because it's kind of looking quite, you know, it's starting to look like what it should do, you know. There we go. And that will grip that quite nicely, actually. And you can see I varnished the whole blooming thing here, and it's going to be fine. It's nice and soft to use. It's fine. So, you know, we could always wind some string over the top of that, actually, if we wanted to have some nice thing. Or you could just wind some like bicycle handlebar tape around it, you know, and that'd be fine. So I think that's the tiller done. We've also got the bumpkin. We may as well get everything on. It's taken a little bit of wear, this cleat. I don't know if you can see where the line has sort of worn it there, just there. But it's still got plenty of wear left in. And if, I don't know which way round that is wearing, but if we put it in the right way, or the other way, it might just wear the other side and prolong the life of the fair lead. So that's going on now. So I'm not bothered about varnishing those things, and we're going to get a decent seal there anyway. There we go. And here's the little fair lead that goes on the mizzen, and all this is for is to attach the bottom of the sail to the mizzen. The top of the sail attaches to a hole in the mizzen, so that's it. This is the only thing in the mizzen. And again, certainly this part of the mizzen doesn't get any water, so I'm not hugely worried about. Well, I say it doesn't get any water, but it might do if we start leaving the mizzen up, the mizzen mast up. But I don't think I'm going to do that for now. It's so easy to get up and down, is the mizzen, that, you know, that I tend to take it down. If we do spot something happening, maybe we will have to just undo these screws and pop a bit of varnish in them. But we'll wait and see. I think we'll wait and see. There we go. So that's literally all my woodwork done.